Hey yo, what's going on? It's the Not Guilty Boyz. Attorney Michael Campbell with my illustrious colleague, partner, my friend, and my brother, Attorney Andrew Wilkerson. Hey man, how you feeling, bro?
What's going on, man? It's the capital P and the place to be. Here to do my thing again. Pin my pen again, see what they talking about.
Well, first of all, we like to shout out all our followers who are liking our page, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and sharing our videos. We really appreciate y'all. We want to get this out here to as many people we can because we really got the sauce, and we're trying to bring the sauce to the culture so the culture can know what's really going on in this legal community. We do this on a daily basis as far as practicing law. Of course, who we are as human beings. We just some real individuals. If you ever get to know us on a personal level, you'll know that it ain't just book smarts, but it's also not just three smarts. It's a combination of both. I know YD, Attorney Andrew, grew up in, certain neighborhoods. I grew up in certain neighborhoods, and by the grace of God, we was able to make it on this side of the bar to be able to represent and help people out. Man, this episode 10, we wanted to, this is a very important episode to us because we came up with this idea of creating this podcast years ago. We finally found the time to sit down, and we found Trip. We're so grateful for our boy Trip. Once this blow up, we definitely gonna put a fat check in his pocket. He already earned it.
Shout out Trip. Shout out Trip.
We finally got this thing off the ground, and it's gaining traction. I know because we get lawyers that stop us and ask us about joining our show. We get all kinds of people who say, man, we watch your podcast and we love it. And we are trying to just really just shed some light on what goes on in these courtrooms. But, episode 10 was about us telling y'all why we do what we love. Why do we love what we do? I love it because, like my boy Drew say, it's not work. I was always the one that could get on the side with what's right and what's wrong. And once I got on the side for what's right, I wasn't going. You weren't going to be able to convince me. I got the evidence or whatever to support me on why I wasn't going, because this is right. And what you talking about is wrong. Okay. And when I get to that point, like the juries always say, since they've been saying since 2018 about me and Drew, it's the passion in y'all that we feel. You know what I'm saying? The passion that we feel that, comes out of y'all when y'all represent y'all client, that we know if y'all believe in y'all client that much, he must be innocent. You know what I'm saying? It's the passion that reeks out. And we always get, man, you boys are good. We always get that. That's understood. But, I'm passionate about justice. I'm passionate about this system. Thank God for this system and a jury trial, the ability to have a jury trial, the ability to be able to convince 12 people that I'm right and they're wrong. Because without that ability to have a jury trial, a lot of my people wouldn't stand a chance. If it just came down to letting the judge or the prosecutor decide, you wouldn't stand a chance. But that's part of the reason why I love what I do. Drew, what about you? Why do you love what you do?
Why do I love what I do? First of all, I get to give glory to God. The Lord gave me these skills and traits, man, to stand in the gap and use them and help people that don't have a voice of their own, to help the less fortunate and destitute. That's biblical. Why do I love what I do? Because not only am I giving glory to God, but after it's done, I get to hear them give glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Thank you for doing this for me. I hear that, man, and I know what it was. I know what it is. And I know I'm standing right where I'm supposed to be, smack dead in the middle of his will. I mean, it's just a good feeling, man, to do his work and be a conduit of his grace and mercy, man.
Absolutely.
Why do I love what I do? I get to be me and still be an attorney. I get to be, I understand I'm a little rough around the edges. I understand that I'm a little bit aggressive. I understand that I'm very, very passionate, but that is how I display my passion. That is how I display, my gift of gab. You understand? That was developed. That wasn't just dropped in my mind. That was developed. I got in a lot of trouble growing up. I felt like I deserved a second chance. God gave me a second chance, and I allowed to get her because God said so. You understand? So, why do I love what I do? Um, because I get to help people get the same second chance that God gave me, you
Absolutely.
know, and it's kind of like telling people, well, instead of telling people to maintain their right of silence, just don't get in trouble anyway. Listen to me, keep on living. Everybody will make some effed up decision that they wish they never did. You see what I'm saying? And at that point, that's where I come in. Everybody will be in some effed up situation that they don't deserve to be in because God chose to test their faith. Okay. And then he'll bring me along to help them because he decided to test my faith. You see what I'm saying? And every time I win that battle, man, my faith in God just increases. That's why I love what I do. Now, why do I do what I love? Why do I do what I love? I'm gonna submit to you that those two things aren't the same question. I do what I love. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like being able to do what I love is a small thing because everybody can't do what they love. You got people that wake up, go to their job every day that don't want to go to their job. You got people that dread going to work. You got people that dread dealing with the people at work. You got people that dread dealing with the obstacles at work. I welcome all that shit. I welcome all of it. And I'm sorry to cuss because that's my passion. Lord, forgive me. But understand is that, it's just a blessing, man. It's a blessing. And I'm not about to squander it. This is by the grace of God, I've been blessed to not only be able to do what I love, but to be good at it and to be confident in it and to be interested enough in it, deeply ingrained in it, to continue to facilitate it and continue to try to make it better. You understand what I'm saying? So, this ain't no cockiness, this ain't bragging. Like the Apostle Paul say, man, you gonna brag, you better brag in the Lord. I'm bragging in the Lord. You understand? So that is why I love what I do. And that is why I do what I love. Simply by the grace of God, he provided me with, understand, there's no teacher that's more passionate than somebody that God made to be a teacher. There's no fireman that's more passionate than somebody that God made to be a fireman. There's no garbage man more passionate about doing his job than somebody that the Lord made to be a garbage man. I simply feel like I was made to be here, man. I would like I am doing exactly what God put me on his earth to do.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. Next question. We told you we was gonna give y'all 3 questions in our legalese and me section, and we in there now. But we're not answering legal questions today. We're answering questions about our role in the legal system. So next question: what would we tell baby lawyers? What I would tell a baby lawyer fresh out of law school is that you still got to put in the work. Yeah, you made it. You made your family proud. You passed that bar. You got your law degree. You made your family proud. But that's when the work really starts. You have to put in that work. But, the good thing about it is that if you put in the work, then you get to reap the benefits. You get to see the harvest grow and you get to see your crops grow. Then you get to picking, the fruits of your labor. And straight up and down, I'm going to tell you like this, baby lawyers, it's work hard, play hard. You know what I'm saying? Put in the work so you can get to enjoy them fruits with your family. Take them vacations. Buy that house. Buy that nice car because you to put in that hard work. But also, baby lawyers, I will tell you that know your stuff. Always spend time sharpening that pencil. This is not about, some people think this field is about, buddy, who you know. We never hung our hat on knowing judges. If a client call me and tell me, hey man, you know the judge in CDC 3, man, can you go down there and see, nah, I'm not the right lawyer for you. Maybe John Bob lawyer down the street, and he likes to contribute to that judge campaign. He likes to go shake hands with that judges every time I hear, but not me. I'm going in there straight black letter law. I ain't going in there to make no friends. I got enough friends. I like my circle small. I'm going in there to advocate for my client based on this black letter law. And then I'm getting my butt up out of there. I ain't got time to hang around and socialize. This ain't social hour. This ain't happy hour. I ain't trying to come to your golfing event. I ain't trying to be at none of them events. You know what I'm saying? Because I got my own family. I spend my free time giving it to God and giving it to my family and giving it back to my community in the way I like to give back to my community. You know what I'm saying? So, baby lawyers, find what you're passionate about in this field and go after it like you was meant to be here. That's what I would tell them. What about you, Drew?
Baby lawyer, I would say that develop a skill of being able to try a case, do mock trial. I would say that become very deeply ingrained in evidence. Learn how to make evidentiary arguments. Learn every chapter from, you know, Texas Rules of Evidence 100 chapter all the way through the 1100 chapter. Learn them all. It's very interesting stuff. You can actually win your trial before the trial even starts if you know your evidence. Okay. Mike's seen it done. I've seen it done. We've done it together on a number of different trials, making evidentiary arguments and keeping evidence out that a DA had planned to show the jury for maybe a whole year before trial. They thought they was going to come with this evidence. And now look, all of a sudden, they got to call an audible because they can't use the evidence no more. You see what I'm saying? And if you're not skilled enough, or have the will enough to call the audible, you got to dismiss the case. Now, I would tell the people, that's for people that's in law school, the people that ain't been to law school yet, I would tell them to learn how to study. Learn how to study in a way where you're most productive and you can retain the most information.
Right.
Learn how to take a test. You see what I'm saying? And people that know what I'm talking about know that's important. If you don't understand what I'm saying by saying learn how to take a test, you probably like, please. But I'm telling you, like, I studied so much, we studied so much, even bar study. I figured out that there's only a few different ways you can ask me this question. You see what I'm saying? To where I'm not falling for the okie doke. I'm not falling for the red herring. I'm not falling for something that ain't got nothing to do with the question or the answer. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that would take you far. That would take you far through law school, your deductive reasoning skills. And I ain't talking about just marking out C and choosing A. I'm talking about knowing why you marked out C and choosing A in a matter of seconds. I'm talking about seeing a certain word in the question where you know that D ain't even coming into play. You see what I'm saying? So, just take your study serious. Understand that you're going to have to sacrifice some things that you think is nice. That's just what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do that. But ain't none of that stuff going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So that's what I would tell a baby lawyer.
And lastly, we know it's getting late in the hour. We really appreciate y'all watching this.
It ain't late for them. It's late for us right now. It's like 10:15. That's why I'm yawning. So just
yeah. We really appreciate y'all watching. Staying tuned. This last question is really important to y'all because it applies to this show and where this show is going. So that question is, where do we see this show in the next 10 episodes? In 10 plus more episodes, where will this show be? I'm going to say, our biggest thing about this show was being able to also be a platform for other individuals, people running for judges. So, because there's some judges on the bench that don't need to be up there. So if we could get the right candidate on this show and let them talk to the people about what their agenda is, what their goals are, their policies are. If they were elected judge, we may can sway the vote a little bit, in the right direction, and get some of these judges out of there that get up there and get the big head. I ain't gonna mention no names. Y'all know I'm talking about Dallas County, or get up there and get to showing their true racist colors. I ain't gonna say no name. Y'all know who I'm talking about, Tarrant County, but You know, that's what I see this show going. Being able to have on other attorneys, potential judges running for offices, bringing people on the show like businessmen, entrepreneurs, entertainers, because it's not all, this show ain't all about the law. It's also about the culture. You know, so because we're highly ingrained in the culture as well as young Black lawyers. So we just want to be able to provide a platform and be able to give the people the valuable resources that they need to be able to navigate throughout the society. So that's where this show is going in the next 10 episodes for me. What about you, Wadi?
My vision, man, is to have this be a hub, man, for the culture to really manifest whatever result in the community that they see fit, man. I'm not big on politics. I'm not at all. I never have been big on politics, but I am big on information. I am big on us having the culture having a source of information they can go to get the truth, because we are two individuals that's going to tell you the truth. I know that about myself, and I know that about Mike. So if say come voting time, we could get the candidates on here to really tell y'all the truth, because we not gonna allow them to come on here and lie to y'all. You know, then that ruins the integrity of our show. You understand? And then we'll be able to move mountains. You know, we want entrepreneurs to come on here and tell the truth about how to get that money and quit all that gatekeeping shit that happens in our community. Ain't no gatekeeping on here, not with the Not Guilty Boys. No. You know, we want the culture, we want our people to be able to come here and get some brain food, man, to come here and leave with a lot more hope and a lot less low self-esteem, to leave with a lot more confidence in what they could do to go get them some money. You see what I'm saying? Entrepreneur, get on here and encourage you and tell you what you need to do about being organized, about being steadfast, about being ambitious, about being determined, and about executing, getting on here telling y'all what to do when the police officers approach you, getting on here, making sure that y'all know y'all's rights. You see what I'm saying? Like these things are very important. And if we could be the hub for that, if we could be, I would also like to talk about fatherhood. You know, I would also like to talk about the stress points too. Divorce, child custody. I done been through that. I can't do nothing but use things that I've went through to try to impart some wisdom to my people. I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to use what I've went through and the wisdom that I've gained and impart it to the people, man. I know that those things that I just mentioned, child custody and fatherhood and divorce, is probably something that you're just not going to talk to anybody about. For damn sure, I know you're not going to talk to nobody that don't understand it. See what I'm saying? So things that go on in our community, I would like to speak about them. I would like us to come to the table on them, bounce ideas off each other. I just want this to be a hub for productivity of the Black community, man. In any other community, but I would like this to be a safe space for everybody that comes here to get informed, to gain confidence and to execute. For sure.
No, for real. So, y'all continue to tune in because we got some good stuff in store for y'all. I think episode 10 may be one of our longest episodes, but it's also one of our best episodes. We really was in here cooking hibachi with the sauce, if you know what I mean. Straight chef filet, like Chef Curry, man. We was really in here stirring it up, giving y'all this valuable information. We hope that we said something that touched somebody or encouraged somebody or inspired somebody. So y'all continue to like, share, subscribe, the Not Guilty Boyz, at the Not Guilty Boyz on Instagram, the Not Guilty Boyz on YouTube, the Not Guilty Boyz on Facebook, the Not Guilty Boyz on TikTok. We out there. Y'all continue to let people know, man, y'all need to go check that podcast out, the two Black lawyers, man. They really know what they're talking about. And one last thing, I'll be remiss if I didn't say this. And I'm gonna say it. I think I said it once, but I'm gonna say it again. Shout out to our producer Trip, man, for making this all happen. If it wasn't for Trip, this show probably would have never got off the ground. So we very are much so thankful for our producer, Trip, man. And I think you know that too. Lastly, the bottle is empty because I killed it all. But y'all need to get y'all some fruit caves. Y'all get with my boy on Instagram, Fruit Caves, and get you some of this natural hydrating lemonade. This is some good stuff, man. Got that sea moss in there. You know what I'm saying? Got that blue spinrilla in there. If y'all people that's on y'all health journeys, man, this is something you can take to keep you hydrated, after a good workout or whatever. And also that has the right things in there that won't raise your blood sugar, don't have no salt in there. It's that good stuff for you. So shout out to Joe.
It's just a little holistic hydration appreciation. You
Shout out
understand what
to
I'm saying?
Joe and Fruit Caves. See, we killed
all.
ours for the day. We killed ours for the day. So,
For sure.
we appreciate y'all watching. Not Guilty Boyz checking out once again.
For sure.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant.
It's no disguise. It's no disguise. It makes no sense. It doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
We need to throw good. Do you?
Murder of the first degree and one or more crimes of murder of the first or second degree to be not true. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this your verdict? So say you one, so say you all.